Autumn of 1666. London was engulfed in flames. The entire city was burning. Streets turned to ashes. People ran for their lives, and the church bells could do nothing to stop the inferno. But from this disaster, one man emerged. A scholar, an astronomer, an engineer, and an architect. His name was Sir Christopher Wren. Wren didn't just rebuild a city, he reshaped a civilization. He turned mathematics into architecture and science into art. And from the ashes rose the symbol of a new London, St. Paul's Cathedral. It wasn't just stone and marble. It was a miracle of human intellect and faith. Join us as we explore the incredible life of Christopher Wren, where science, faith, and genius converge. Fact 1. The birth of a son of science and faith. Sir Christopher Wren was born on October 20th, 1632, in a quiet, misty corner of England, the village of East Kinnoil, Wiltshire. He grew up in a religious and scholarly family. His father, Christopher Wren Sr., was a church rector and one of the canons of St. Paul's Cathedral, meaning young Christopher was surrounded from an early age by both faith and intellect. His mother, Mary Cox, was a gentle, refined woman with a deep love for music and nature. His childhood was spent in churchyards among books, prayers, and the beauty of the natural world. But this calm environment did not make him a typical child. He didn't just pray, he sought to understand everything. He would take apart the church clock, reassembling it to see how it worked, and open his toys to explore their mechanics. To him, mechanisms seemed alive in his hands. His family recognized his uniqueness early. His father once said, "My son does not content himself with prayer alone. He wants to understand the world God has made." This curiosity shaped his entire life. He loved mathematics, physics, astronomy, and mechanics, and each discovery allowed him to see the world more clearly. It was this love for knowledge that would later turn him into the genius architect who rebuilt London from the ashes of the Great Fire. Thus, in a small village, in a simple rector's household, the foundation of England's future architectural marvel was laid. Christopher Wren, a child born in God's house, yet measuring the universe with science. Fact 2. The scientist who accidentally became an architect. Young Christopher Wren never imagined he would become an architect. At Oxford University, he was a brilliant student in mathematics, astronomy, and physics. So talented was he that by the age of 22, he had already earned the title of professor. His main fascination was the heavens, the movement of planets, the force of gravity, and the order of the universe. But fate had a different path in store for him. One day, a friend, the astronomer Sir Robert Hooke, told him, "Christopher, if you understand the heavens so well, you can align buildings like the stars themselves." That sentence struck him like a lightning bolt. The idea of applying the laws of science to architecture opened a whole new world for Wren. He began to see mathematical order behind shapes and cosmic harmony in buildings, the symmetry of mathematics, the precision of astronomy. He wanted to translate all of this into stone and marble. One of his first projects was the Sheldonian Theatre at Oxford University, a building that became a symbol of the fusion of science and art. While designing the theater, Wren made calculations so precise that even the faintest sound could be heard clearly in the farthest corner, as if he were not just an architect, but an acoustic engineer. Thus, the rigid mathematics of science and the delicate beauty of art merged within him. Christopher Wren stumbled into architecture by accident, yet he quickly realized that this field was seemingly made for him. He would later say, "I do not build mere buildings. I give form to thoughts." Fact 3. London rising from the ashes. In September 1666, London seemed to turn into hell. On a windy night, a small flame in a baker's shop spread across the city within hours. Wooden houses ignited like tinder, streets filled with molten metal and charred stone. The Great Fire, which lasted 3 days, destroyed over 13,000 homes and 87 churches. People were left homeless, and the city lay buried in ashes. But from the chaos, one voice rose, the voice of Christopher Wren. He stepped forward to rebuild London, yet his vision went far beyond constructing mere buildings. He imagined a completely new London. Broad streets, orderly squares, and monumental churches reaching toward the sky. Within days, Wren drafted an incredible reconstruction plan, inspired by Roman architecture, emphasizing symmetry and wide boulevards. Unfortunately, the city's complex land ownership system made it impossible to implement fully. Still, Wren did not give up. He revived the soul of the city. As a result, he built over 50 churches, including the iconic St. Paul's Cathedral. Each of these churches was like a seed of hope planted in the burned heart of the city. He famously said, "London did not burn, it was purified." Now it will rise again under Wren's guidance. London rose from the ashes to become one of Europe's most beautiful cities within a century. He didn't just build structures, he rebuilt the spirit of a nation. Fact 4. St. Paul's Cathedral, Wren's masterpiece. The greatest work that immortalized Sir Christopher Wren's name is undoubtedly St. Paul's Cathedral. This magnificent building was not just a religious space, but also a symbol of London's rebirth and the power of human determination. The Great Fire of 1666 had completely destroyed St. Paul's. The city was in flames, the roof had collapsed, and even the stone walls were cracked. At that moment, hope seemed lost. Yet Wren saw a new beginning amidst the ruins. He believed that St. Paul's should not merely be a building, but a monument capable of restoring the spirit of the people. In 1668, Wren was commissioned to rebuild the cathedral. He first presented a simple plan, but later changed his mind. He did not want an ordinary church. He aimed to create a miracle built to last for eternity. His greatest ambition was to construct a monumental dome inspired by St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Yet in England at that time, this idea was bold and risky. Many thought such a structure was impossible. Wren fought for years. Bureaucratic demands from Parliament, financial difficulties, and the conservative views of religious leaders repeatedly challenged him. But he was known for his perseverance. Each time his design was rejected, he redrew it, every time more perfect than before. Finally, in 1675, he received official permission to begin construction. The building of St. Paul's took 35 years. Wren grew old, yet he personally supervised every stone and every decoration. His goal was not just to build a structure, he wanted to create an architectural masterpiece connecting earth and sky. The dome's interior was so carefully calculated that it created a whispering gallery, where a whisper in one corner could be heard clearly across the other side. The cathedral was fully completed in 1710, when Wren was 78 years old. At the opening ceremony, he sat quietly before the king and church dignitaries. His son turned to him and said, "Father, you have left an immortal mark on London." Wren smiled and replied, "If you seek a monument, look around you. This is my monument." These words were later engraved on his tomb. "Si monumentum requiris, circumspice." If you seek his monument, look around. Today, St. Paul's Cathedral still rises proudly over London, each stone bearing the imprint of Wren's genius, patience, and spirit. He was not just an architect. He was an artist who built hope from ashes. Fact 5. Faith in architecture. Sir Christopher Wren was not only a brilliant architect and scientist, he was also a man of deep religious faith. His childhood in the village of East Kinnoil, alongside his father, a devoted rector, immersed him in the life of the church. His parents were committed to religious values, and this environment shaped Wren's worldview, guiding him to understand the connection between God and the universe. For Wren, architecture was never just about stone and marble. Every building had to carry a spiritual message. He particularly sought to design churches that would lead people toward divine thought. Every column, every window, every dome had symbolic and aesthetic purpose. St. Paul's Cathedral stands as the clearest expression of his faith. By creating a monumental dome that reached toward the heavens, he aimed to elevate the human spirit. He famously said, "Architecture should bring the human soul closer to God." Wren's faith also brought him patience and perseverance. Rebuilding the city after the Great Fire of London was no easy task, yet he meticulously planned every detail with a sense of responsibility before God. As a result, his buildings combined science, art, and faith. Everything in harmony, every detail a gesture of reverence to God. Thus, Sir Christopher Wren's religious devotion merged with his architectural vision and technical innovations, created a lasting historical legacy. His works not only inspire awe through beauty, but also guide the human spirit toward divine values. Fact 6. The union of science and architecture, Newton and Wren. Sir Christopher Wren was not just an architect, he was also a scientist, astronomer, and mathematician. His curiosity centered on the movement of the heavens, the laws of gravity, and the principles of nature. And it was this love for science that brought unparalleled precision to his architecture. Wren's scientific pursuits led him to Isaac Newton. They knew each other in the 1660s through the Royal Society, often discussing the secrets of the universe, gravity, planetary motion, and the reflection of light. Wren often said that architecture and science are inseparable. For example, while designing the monumental dome of St. Paul's Cathedral, he applied scientific calculations to determine the structure's weight and the placement of supports. The double support system he designed for the dome was engineered with mathematical precision, directly reflecting his knowledge of astronomy and physics. In discussions with Newton, Wren frequently said, "If we understand the laws of the universe, we can construct our buildings in harmony with the rhythm of the cosmos." This philosophy is evident in his architecture. Every column, every tower, every window was placed with symmetry and harmony. His scientific approach enabled him to create innovative solutions in both architecture and engineering. For Wren, architecture was not just aesthetic, it was a visual manifestation of science and mathematics. His friendship with Newton influenced not only the realm of science, but also the future of London, built in stone and marble. Fact 7. Engineering innovations, the dome and its supports. Sir Christopher Wren did not view architecture merely as an art of aesthetics. He fused it with science and engineering. This is especially evident in the monumental dome of St. Paul's Cathedral. Building such a massive dome at that time was a tremendous risk. The dome was heavy, composed of millions of kilos of stone and marble, and any miscalculation could have been catastrophic. Wren solved this challenge using his knowledge of mathematics and physics. He created a double support system within the dome, a strong structure consisting of both an inner and outer shell. This system gave the dome both aesthetic elegance and structural strength. As a result, the dome could bear the immense weight of stone and marble while maintaining a vast interior space that inspired awe and wonder. Wren's engineering skill extended beyond the dome. He carefully positioned the walls and columns of the cathedral so that the building could withstand earthquakes and strong winds. His calculations were revolutionary for the time. Buildings were not only visually stunning, but also structurally sound and durable. These technical innovations established Wren not just as an architect, but also as an engineer and visionary innovator. His ideas later became a standard in architecture across England and Europe. Thus, every stone and column of Wren's dome represents not only beauty, but also a masterpiece of science and mathematics. He demonstrated that architecture and engineering are inseparable, and that the greatest beauty lies in the structure itself. Fact 8. Knighthood and recognition by the king. The scientific and architectural achievements of Sir Christopher Wren brought him to the attention of the crown. In 1669, his services were officially recognized, and Wren was knighted, earning the title Sir. This was more than an honor. It was official acknowledgement of his genius in English history. He also held the position of surveyor of the king's works, overseeing the construction of all royal palaces and government buildings. This role gave him both immense responsibility and creative freedom. From that moment, Wren's hand shaped not only churches, but also palaces, government offices, and public buildings. The king and the royal court highly valued Wren's intelligence and skill. His innovative ideas in architecture astonished not just England, but all of Europe. His works, particularly St. Paul's Cathedral, became symbols of English Baroque architecture, forever immortalizing his name. Yet despite his fame, Wren remained humble. He often said, "My aim is to create an order admired by God and men, not for myself." Thus, Wren was remembered not only as an architect and scholar, but also as a modest yet invaluable leader. His knighthood and acclaim stand as a historic recognition of his contributions to science and architecture. Fact 9. a simple and noble life. The life and achievements of Sir Christopher Wren were immense, yet his character remained humble and modest. He was known as a man who never sought fame, using his ideas for the benefit of humanity and science. Galleries, churches, and the massive stones of domes immortalized his name, yet Wren never desired to be at the center of attention. Friends and colleagues often said, "He is a great genius, yet never considers himself above others." Wren spent much of his life in his humble office, maintaining a warm and sincere relationship with his staff and students, carefully reviewing every detail. Every church, every column, every mathematical calculation reflected his humility and professionalism. He was also devoted to his family. Throughout his life, he had several children and took great care in overseeing their education. His daily life was simple, filled with meals, work, scientific discussions, and architectural planning. Yet this simplicity never hindered his genius. Wren's life philosophy was clear. Fame is not in the stones, but in the work itself and the impact it has on people. Thus, Sir Christopher Wren was not only a brilliant architect and scientist, he was humble, sincere, and noble. His simple life shines even brighter against the backdrop of his monumental achievements. Fact 10. Death and legacy. Sir Christopher Wren passed away on February 25, 1723 in London at the age of 90. His life was long, productive, and left a profound mark on history. Remarkably, Wren continued to work, plan, and think about new projects until his final moments. With his passing, the world lost not just an architect and a scholar. England gained a lasting architectural legacy. His designs, especially St. Paul's Cathedral, remain a symbol of London and a pinnacle of English Baroque architecture. Every stone of the dome, every column of his churches carries the imprint of his intellect, patience, and spirit. Even on his gravestone, Wren demonstrated his humility. The inscription reads, "Si monumentum requiris, circumspice." If you seek his monument, look around you. This phrase encapsulates his philosophy. Wren's legacy lives not only in stone, but in every building, every corner of the city. He taught humanity through his works, through architecture, scientific thought, religious faith, and humility. Sir Christopher Wren did not die. He lives in the immortal spirit of London, architecture, and science. His works continue to inspire future generations, with every new architect or scientist drawing from his ideas to achieve greater things. Thus, Wren's life and death demonstrate how a great person's legacy can endure. His story shows us that when science, faith, and creative thought unite, even the greatest disasters can give birth to miracles. He did not merely build buildings. He rebuilt the soul of London, expanded the boundaries of human thought, and shaped the future of architecture. Every column of St. Paul's Cathedral, every curve of its dome, every play of light within its walls serves as a reminder of Wren's genius and his contribution to humanity. If you love learning about the stories of great geniuses, subscribe to our channel and click the bell to be notified of every new video. Thank you for watching. In the next story, we will explore the miraculous world of another extraordinary mind.